Of course, as the heat continues to turn up across the state, insect populations also seem to be following suit. So joining us now to discuss what kinds of pests producers are dealing with right now is Ron Seymore, Nebraska Extension Educator. You gave a presentation out here, able to field questions from producers. That's the fun part. We'll talk about what they're seeing in the fields in a moment, but Japanese beetles, we see lots of those this time of year?
Yeah, we really do, particularly in, both in corn and soybeans. I've been getting so many calls from homeowners with them in their trees and things like that. But of course, we're talking about them here in our crops, and I was talking specifically about Japanese beetles and other defoliators in soybeans, and they can be a real problem sometimes. And so Japanese beetles are pretty new to a lot of farmers here, so they're still kind of learning about what they're doing to their field and how to look, what to do about them. And so we're trying to give them some background information and then actually get them out in the crop and take a look and see what's going on.
Part of it is reaching a threshold, right?
Yes.
What's that threshold this time of year as our soybeans continue to grow?
Well, so a lot of our soybeans are in the reproductive stage right now, and so when we're looking at defoliators overall, it's a 20% defoliation. And understand about defoliation, it's kind of hard to estimate. Yeah. Everybody thinks it looks worse than it is, and so we're trying to instruct folks, right? You have to look at the right way, look throughout the canopy, estimate these. Actually handed out some cards for people to use as a reference so that they can use those to do a good job of estimating defoliation, not only from Japanese beetles, but all kinds of other insects that would be out there.
There's a lot of defoliation on the outside of the field, or does it make its way to the inside too?
Yeah, it kind of depends a little bit on the species. A lot of these Japanese beetles and grasshoppers start out on the outside of the field where they've been overwintering, move in, and then they can keep going into the field. And so we like farmers to take a look early so that they can see what's happening on the edge of my field. Maybe I can just spray the edge of the field, not the whole field, and keep them from moving in further. And so it's really valuable for them to do that outside look first.
So that's Japanese beetles.
Yes.
What else did you share with producers out here?
Well, when I was out here last week, I just checking to see what the situation is, I did find some Dectes stem borer, or soybean stem borer. And this is a little beetle that will lay eggs on the stems, and then they get inside the larvae get inside the stem, feed on the stem. At the end of the season, they go to the base of the plant, weaken the plant, and cause it to fall over. And so we want people to recognize that now's the time to be looking for those and see how many you have, see how much damage, and then you can plan on harvesting a little differently to be able to manage those.
Okay, you are also doing some trials out here, I understand, some different research when it comes to insects. Well, what is that research?
Yeah, so actually it's Dr. Bob Wright who's doing those, and his technician Terry DeVries. And one of the things they were looking at is insecticides on controlling some of these defoliators. And they had some new things that they were looking at, some established things. They all look pretty good. And so that was a good thing. And the other thing that they're looking at is using pheromone traps or scent traps to attract stink bugs so that you can sample those without going out into the field. Pretty handy.
I like it.
To be able to do that. And so stink bugs, they suck fluids out of the plants, and they're a real problem when they're sucking fluids out of the pods and damaging the seeds. And so we talked about stink bugs, which ones we commonly have here, how to look for them, and what the thresholds are on those as well.
Okay, real quick, want to get your thoughts. Any other topics producers brought to you they're curious about right now?
So yeah, they're really interested in these Japanese beetles and what are they doing not only in soybeans but in corn. And so they were talking about that. We were talking about different control methods for these Dectes stem borers. It's a real problem. And so they're trying different things and just questions about those kinds of things.
Good chance to come out to the field day and ask those questions. Ron, we appreciate you joining us here on Market Journal. If you'd like to learn more, the best website to do so is by visiting cropwatch.unl.edu.